Hello, everyone, and welcome to the team builder for the finals of the PDL. I'm the Lone Ranger, and I am the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have made it all the way to the finals of a 24 team draft league, and I'm just honestly impressed with myself. I have not participated in a tier based draft league before, and so considering this is my first one, making it to finals is just uh, a level of ecstasy that I am not used to, I guess. Anyway, we are going to be playing definitely not Thatch. Excuse me. We are going to be playing definitely not Thatch and the Cleveland Jynx, so a fellow Cleveland team. And as you can see, his team on the right, a ton of threats, and this is just going to be probably the hardest week, or the hardest battle we're going to have in the entire tournament. I mean, it is the finals, so it's to be expected, but I'm hoping that our team can at least, how do I put this? Give him a run for his money, if not pull through and allow us to take home the trophy. That would be incredible. But as you can see here, the six we will be bringing for the finals are going to be Cluffable, Zapdos, Gyarados, Nidoking, um, Tangela, and Cryogonal. So Cryogonal coming off the bench once again. Really excited for that because he hasn't gotten to see a ton of playtime, but the games that he has been brought, he's actually been able to put in a good amount of work, and I think he can do a bunch of work here as well. So let's just hop right into the sets. Let's start off with Cluffable, who's going to be our main physically defensive pivot this week, running leftovers, Magic Guard, and having Moonblast, Knockoff, Stealth Rock, and Moonlight. So a pretty standard set, but everything on this set has its purpose. Moonblast, of course, being able to do the most damage. He doesn't have a ton of fairy resist, so I can just click Moonblast and get good damage off on things if they want to switch into me. And if things want to stay in, they'll also take big damage. Stuff like Mammoth Swine, Aerodactyl, they take a good 35 to 40% from it. And, damage is damage, and you can't complain about that. Knockoff is there because he does have a lot of Pokemon who really benefit from their items. Stuff like Eviolite, Porygon 2, or the possibility of Assault Vest, Muck, being able to remove those items from them can make them a lot easier to deal with. So that's why Knockoff is there. Not too much for damage, but rather for the ability to remove his items should come in handy this week. Stealth Rocks is there because this is going to be, it's Stealth Rocks. He has a good amount of Stealth Rock weakness, weak Pokemon on his team, including Aerodactyl, Yanmega, and Delphox, things that if we have Stealth Rocks up, their switch in potential is going to be limited, which is pretty good because those things are actually more offensive threats than defensive threats. So the more damage we can get on them quicker, the better, because basically the less they can switch in, the better, is what I'm trying to say, because if they can switch in multiple times for free, then they really have the potential to do a lot of damage to my team. And last is going to be Moonlight. I would run the Soft Boiled, but I actually don't have a bold Soft Boiled Cleffable. So Moonlight is fine. He doesn't have any weather that would hinder the healing potential of Moonlight, and hopefully the PP doesn't come into play either. But yeah, basically, uh, running it the same reason, even if it was Soft Boiled, it's the reliable recovery move that allows Cleffable to stay healthy and continue walling Pokemon like Hitmonlee and possibly Yanmega as well throughout the entirety of the match. Okay, into the EV spread, nothing too complicated, just max HP, 188 defense, and 68 special defense, so a primarily physically defensive Pokemon, and as you're going to see, this is because with the investment we have, if my opponent decides to run Adamant Hitmonlee, so let's say it's like Adamant Choice Scarf Hitmonlee or something along those lines, with leftovers recovery, we will never get 2-hit KO'd, so we are a basically by the book counter to that thing, easily able to switch in that thing without having to worry about too much. And also, with the defense investment we have, if my opponent decides to not run Iron Head on Mega Aerodactyl, as you can see, Stone Edge is never going to 2-hit KO me either, so we are going to be able to check that thing, which is going to be nice. So yeah, Cleffable, just a nice, good defensive pivot, and hopefully can put in a lot of work in this final game of the season. Next up is going to be Zapdos. Instead of running the bulky Zapdos that we have run most of our games, we're going to be running a Choice Scarf Zapdos this time because that Aerodactyl really has the potential to run through my team. We don't really have any good answers to it. I was thinking about running Bronzong, but I think he'll run either Fire Fang or Crunch in order to deal with it. And even if I wanted to run Heat Proof, he also has the potential to run Earthquake. Like Aerodactyl has so many options such a diverse offensive move pool that I wanted something to be able to outspeed it and just kill it outright. And that's what Zapdos is here to do. It does do other things, but that's one of the things that hopefully it will be able to do, because if we can get rid of that Aerodactyl early on, it will be so much helpful uh, for the rest of the team, because not really anything wants to switch into that thing. It just has so much attack. But yeah, we're going to be running Choice Scarf. Since we're not running Defog, we are going to be allowed to run Static. This also helps. Let's say we wanted to switch into like Hitmonlee, or let's say the Bisharp wants to go for an Iron Head or something like that. We have that potential to paralyze it, and you know, even though paralyzing something isn't going to like completely shut it down, just having that 25% chance of not being able to move, they have their speed halved. So I mean, it's better than pressure on this set, because pressure doesn't really do anything for me when it's not a defensive Pokemon. So the moveset is going to be Thunderbolt, Heat Wave, Hidden Power Grass, and U-Turn. Thunderbolt is there, as you can see, with the special attack investment we have. It's a guaranteed one-hit KO on Mega Aerodactyl if the Mega Aerodactyl doesn't have any bulk investment. And the speed we have allows us to outspeed all versions of Yanmega. So if he runs Speed Boost Yanmega and gets +1 speed, we still are able to outspeed and OHKO that with the Thunderbolt. So just a nice stab move used to hit those flying types, and just hit stuff that gets hit neutrally, like Bisharp, and Delphox also take a good chunk as well. Heat Wave is there pretty much specifically for the Bisharp, since we don't really have a good switch into it. This would pretty much be our switch in. Oops, wait. Yeah, this is basically going to be our way of dealing with Bisharp as well, although we do have other ways of dealing with it. This is the only thing that really takes hits from it, so that's why Heat Wave is there. Hits Bisharp. It also can do decent damage to the Mamoswine on the switch. Has the potential burn, so if he tries to switch an Aerodactyl, knowing on Choice Scarf, there's that 10% chance to burn and stuff like that. Hidden Power Grass is specifically for the Mamoswine. With our investment, we are able to guarantee the 2-hit KO on it, so Mamoswine won't be able to switch into us. However, we would have to predict the switch in and go for the Hidden Power Grass, which might be tough in a spot we are in, but that is why that is there. It doesn't make us dead weight against the Mamoswine. And then U-Turn is also there as opposed to Volt Switch because of the Mamoswine. Let's say I'm in against the Hitmonlee and it's within U-Turn range. I can just go for the U-Turn, and if he decides to switch into Mamoswine, we don't lose momentum because we lock ourselves into a move that it is immune to. So that is why we are running the set we are. And again, we outspeed Yanmega, have enough special attack to guarantee the OHKO on Aerodactyl, and the rest is button to HP to allow us to better take hits from stuff like Bisharp. So next up is going to be the Gyarados. Mega Gyarados, of course, with the Intimidate ability. This will really help against stuff like Aerodactyl. And we're running the Restock set this week, and I think this has a ton of potential just because he doesn't have a lot of water resists, and the ones he does have don't beat this set, right? So stuff like Suicune, it can Scald me, it can Ice Beam me, it can Calm Mind in my face, but I'm going to inevitably set up enough Dragon Dances to beat it 1v1, and I can rest off all the damage. If it burns me, I can rest the burn off as well. So yep, Waterfall, Dragon Dance, Rest, and Sleep Talk allows us to basically, if we weaken the answers to Gyarados, it will just win. And that's what I'm going to be aiming for this week. A very, I guess, complex spread this week. I wanted it to be bulky and powerful and fast. Like, it just had to do everything. So that's what I attempted to make it do. 164 HP, 44 attack, 76 defense, 12 special defense, and 212 speed. So the speed and the jolly nature allows it to outspeed Adamant Hitmonlee. So after Dragon Dance, if he is Adamant Scarf Hitmonlee, we are able to outspeed that and knock it out with a Waterfall. And as you can see with the Spadef investment, a modest Life Orb Yanmega's Bug Buzz will never OHKO. So that's one of the things that could possibly revenge kill me. Like if it has Protect, it comes in, protects, and hits me with a Bug Buzz the following turn. That won't be able to OHKO me, so we can't get revenge killed from Yanmega at full. And then the attack investment is going to be there for a couple reasons. First off, with the attack investment we have, a +1 Waterfall will guarantee the OHKO on non-bulk invested Rotom. So let's say he tries to run Choice Scarf Rotom to try to revenge kill me that way. We will be able to OHKO that so it can't get off multiple hits. And also, even if we don't get a Dragon Dance up with the attack investment we have, we are able to get the guaranteed Oko on offensive Mega Aerodactyl as well. So that's what the attack investment is there for. The rest is put into defense to make him better eat hits from Hitmonlee in case he does want to run Choice Scarf. Unfortunately, we can't get enough investment to guarantee we live a hit from Hitmonlee, but it's basically just a patch. And against other physical attackers as well, like Mamoswine, will do less damage with this extra physical defense. So, yep, that's the spread for Gyarados, and hopefully it can put in a lot of work. Hopefully it can do what it needs to do to cop the W in these final games. Next up is going to be Nidoking. We're going to be running the physical set again, but with a very, very different set. Life Orb this time because there's no real need for the Sash. He doesn't have anything that Okos me. Well, he does have things that can Oko me, but the things that Oko that have the potential to Oko Nidoking don't outspeed Nidoking most of the time. I guess you could run Choice Scarf, Mamoswine or something like that, but most of the time Nidoking can just outspeed the things that threaten it with big damage and then hopefully get a knockout on it. We're going to be running Earthquake, Thunder Punch, Superpower, and Toxic Spike. Earthquake is there pretty much as a stab move, and while it's not boosted by Sheer Force, it does hit the Muck a lot harder, as well as hitting stuff like Porygon to Oko's Bisharp, hits stuff like Suicune decently hard. It's just an all-around great stab move that hits stuff hard on the switch in. We do also have Thunder Punch. This will also hit the Suicune actually a lot harder than Earthquake will, so that's really nice. It also has a good chance to Oko Mega Aerodactyl and a chance to Oko Yanmega as well. So mostly there for those flying types that would be immune to Earthquake, but also has the added benefit of being able to hit Suicune, which is a bulky Pokemon that would be able to hit eat a couple Earthquakes as well. So next up is Superpower. Superpower is mainly there for the Mamoswine, right? Because with a Life Orb and Superpower, we have a really decent shot at just Okoing offensive Mamoswine. So if he's not Focus Sash, we can just knock that out and maybe catch him by surprise because you don't really expect Superpower on Nidoking that much. So if we can knock out that Mamoswine early on, that would be really nice. It also does hit the Porygon 2 the hardest out of all his moves, so that's really nice as well. And then the last moves is going to be Toxic Spikes. While he does have a plethora of flying type Pokemon that are immune to Toxic Spikes, as well as an Alolan Muck that can absorb the Toxic Spikes, if we can get rid of Alolan Muck, he does have a lot of Pokemon that get hit by the Toxic Spikes as well. So stuff like Porygon 2, Mamoswine, and Delphox, stuff that doesn't want to, things that don't want to get poisoned, and with the Toxic Spikes, we'd be able to poison them and wear them down, basically preventing them from continuing to do what they do best, which would be either, in Delphox's case, do big damage, or in Porygon 2's face, wall stuff. You can't really wall stuff if you're poisoned. You're going to gradually get whittled down until you go down. So, yep, Toxic Spikes, hopefully we can use that to our advantage this week as well. Next up is going to be Tangela. Tangela is not something that, or Tangela's set isn't super out of the ordinary, I guess. It's pretty standard set for Tangela. Eviolite, Regenerator, with Giga Drain, Knockoff, Leech Seed, and Sleep Powder. No hidden power, none of that this week. Just Giga Drain hits, nice stab move. Hits stuff like Mamoswine hard if he decides to switch into it, which I don't think he would, but basically it's just the stab move has the added bonus of recovering some HP, so not a bad move by any means. Knockoff is there for the same reason it is uncluffable. He'd probably switch in stuff like Porygon 2 and Muck into Tangela, and being able to remove their items on the switch in is really, really nice for it. Leech Seed is there because if he does, like, let's say I knock off all his items or something like that, and I knock off, like, basically Leech Seed is there because if he decides to switch into something, Leech Seed, I can Leech Seed them on the switch, get some recovery, chip them, and it also helps me beat stuff like Suicune, although Suicune does have the potential to run Substitute, which I can't Leech Seed through. But yeah, Leech Seed is there because it just allows me to chip stuff and heal at the same time. Just a nice move to whittle his team down. And then Sleep Powder is there because there's really not much else that would really make much need. Sorry. No other move really needs to be used on Tangela, so being able to put stuff to sleep with sleep powder, having that option is nice. Obviously, it does have the shaky 75% accuracy, but there's just no other move that fits its final slot better. Really, it just needs these three moves, and then sleep powder is an added luxury, being able to threaten Pokemon with a sleep. So stuff like uh, Bisharp or um, Bisharp can't get a free Sword Stance, or Aerodactyl can't get a free Hone Claws, stuff like that. So, yep, and then the EV spread, just max HP, max SpDef. It doesn't need a lot of defense investment this week. Even Mamoswine can't OHKO it with a Life Orb boosted Icicle Crash, so having the extra SpDef helps a lot in order to check stuff like the Suicune, and we can even take a hit from Delphox as well, although I don't know if I'd really want to do that, so yep. That's what Tangela is there for, and last but not least is going to be the Cryogonal. Running leftovers with the Levitate, the only ability it gets. Freeze Dry, Toxic, Rapid Spin, and Recover. So this is going to be our secondary specially defensive pivot. Able to Freeze Dry, which hits stuff like Suicune super effectively, and also OHKO's Yen Mega most of the time, and does a good chunk to Aerodactyl as well, although I probably wouldn't stay in on an Aerodactyl because I'd probably get OHKO'd by it first. But yeah, Freeze Dry is there as its stab move that can also hit Suicune, which is nice, which allows Cryogonal to check Suicune and stop it from setting up Calm Minds. Toxic is there because a lot of the things that would switch into Cryogonal don't want to get poisoned, stuff like Porygon 2 and Delphox. We can poison it with Toxic. So again, just going into the playing a more defensive game, getting that chip damage on those Pokemon can really help a lot. And Rapid Spin is there as our hazard control. He does have the option to run Stealth Rocks with his Mamoswine, and that would really hinder the ability for Zapdos and Gyarados to do their job because he'd be taking 25% on the switch in, so being able to remove those hazards is going to be nice, especially because Cryogonal, with its Ice typing and its Levitate ability, allows us to naturally resist Mamoswine's stab move. So unless it's running something like Superpower, it actually cannot really do too much damage to us, which I'll show you a calc in a bit, but this allows us to actually naturally check Mamoswine, which will make it, if Mamoswine is his Stealth Rocker, it'll make it a lot easier for us to keep hazards off the field. Last move is going to be Recover, because on a defensive pivot, having that reliable recovery is just really nice to have. It'll allow Cryogonal to switch in a lot more often. So this is the spread, nothing like too fancy, just max HP, enough speed to outspeed Yan Mega in case he decides to run like a Specs Tinted Lens set with Timid Nature. We're able to outspeed that and hit it with the Freeze Dry. The rest in defense, which, as you can see with the defense investment we have, if my opponent decides to run Adamant, Max Attack, Life Orb, Mamoswine, Icicle Crash, we'll never do over 50%. So that's never going to be able to hit KO, which means if he's not running Superpower or something along those lines, Cryogonal will be able to wall that Mamoswine and hopefully keep those hazards off the field, allowing everyone else to be able to perform their jobs to the best of their ability. So, yep, that is going to be the team we are running this week. A lot of interesting sets, a lot of interesting techs, but definitely everything has the potential to do a lot of work this week. My opponent's team is very scary. There's nothing I can do about that, though. Just, make the team that I think will best be able to deal with all of his Pokemon, and I think this is that team that can best deal with all of his Pokemon. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This should be going up on Saturday, I believe. I will be actually in Tennessee this weekend, participating in the Memphis VGC regional happening there this weekend. So, I'll try to get this up on Saturday, but if it doesn't, that's why. It's because I'm in Tennessee, and I don't know if I'll have my computer with me, so I don't know if I'll be able to upload while I'm there. But I'm going to hopefully get this team builder up on Saturday, and then the battle up on Sunday, just like I always have been. But if they're a little late, that's going to be why. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later with the battle for the finals of the PDL. So goodbye for now.